Welcome to Travel Decoded, where we don't just travel the world, we decode it. Today's video is about America's silent depression, the poverty crisis nobody sees. When most people think of America, they imagine opportunity, freedom, and the promise of a better life. Skyscrapers, booming businesses, and a powerful economy dominate the global image of the United States. But beyond the bright lights and success stories, there is another America. One that rarely appears in headlines or social media feeds. This is not a story about an economic crash or a sudden collapse. Airports are still crowded, stores are still open, and the stock market continues to rise. On the surface, everything looks normal. But beneath that appearance, millions of Americans are quietly struggling just to survive. Today's crisis doesn't look like the Great Depression from history books. There are no long bread lines or abandoned factories filling the streets. Instead, the struggle is hidden behind office jobs, delivery uniforms, and smiling social media posts. People are working full-time, sometimes even multiple jobs, yet living paycheck to paycheck. Rent takes up most of their income. Medical bills create fear. Grocery shopping has turned into a calculation of what can be skipped. This is what many are now calling a silent depression. A time where poverty doesn't always mean unemployment, and hardship doesn't always look dramatic. What makes this crisis more dangerous is its invisibility. Many people struggling today don't look poor. They drive cars, pay their bills late, and hide stress behind a normal life. But behind closed doors, debt is rising, savings are disappearing, and financial anxiety has become part of daily life. In this video, we will decode how America reached this point, why this growing poverty crisis is often ignored, and what it reveals about the future of the American dream. Let's decode the reality behind America's silent depression. Hidden poverty. Poverty in America no longer looks the way most people imagine. It is no longer defined only by empty refrigerators or visible homelessness. Today, poverty hides in plain sight. It exists behind apartment doors, inside crowded households, and among people who appear financially stable from the outside. Many Americans living in poverty are fully employed. They wake up early, commute long hours, and work demanding jobs, yet still struggle to cover basic expenses. Their income may look reasonable on paper, but rising costs erase its value. Rent, utilities, transportation, food, and insurance quietly consume everything they earn. Social pressure plays a powerful role in hiding this reality. In a culture that values success and independence, admitting financial struggle is often seen as personal failure. As a result, people suffer silently, relying on credit cards, loans, and, by now, pay later services just to maintain a sense of normal life. This hidden poverty creates isolation. People stop socializing, avoid medical care, and delay important life decisions like marriage, children, or education. The struggle becomes internal, invisible, and emotionally exhausting. Poverty is no longer only an economic condition, it is a psychological one. Working poor. One of the most shocking aspects of America's silent depression is the rise of the working poor. These are individuals who do everything society asks of them. They study, gain skills, work long hours, and contribute to the economy, yet remain trapped in financial instability. Wages have not kept pace with living costs. While productivity has increased over decades, real income growth for many workers has remained stagnant. A single unexpected expense. A medical bill, car repair, or rent increase, can push a family into crisis. Many workers now depend on multiple jobs or side hustles just to survive. Weekends are no longer for rest but for additional income. This constant pressure leads to burnout, stress, and declining mental health. The promise that hard work guarantees a better life feels increasingly broken. For younger generations, the impact is even deeper. Home ownership feels unreachable. Student loan debt delays financial independence. The idea of stability becomes a distant dream rather than an expected milestone. The working poor represent a fundamental shift in the American economic story. Poverty is no longer limited to those outside the workforce, it exists within it. Rising costs. At the heart of this silent depression is the rising cost of survival. Housing, healthcare, education, and food have become increasingly expensive, while wages struggle to keep up. Rent is often the largest burden. In many cities, housing costs consume more than half of a person's income. Affordable housing options are shrinking, forcing people to move farther from work or live in overcrowded conditions. Stability becomes fragile, dependent on each month's paycheck. Healthcare costs add another layer of insecurity. Many delay treatment, risking long-term health issues to avoid immediate financial damage. Food prices have also risen steadily. Families are forced to prioritize cheap, processed options over healthy choices. Together, these rising costs turn everyday life into a financial balancing act. One mistake, one emergency, or one missed paycheck can cause everything to collapse. Changing homelessness. Homelessness in America is also changing, and becoming harder to recognize. It is no longer limited to those visibly living on the streets. Many people experiencing homelessness live in cars, shelters, or temporary accommodations while still holding jobs. Teachers, healthcare workers, veterans, and service employees are increasingly represented among the homeless population. These are individuals society depends on, yet fails to support adequately. This shift challenges long-held stereotypes. Homelessness is not always the result of addiction or unemployment. Often, it is caused by rising rents, sudden job loss, medical emergencies, or domestic instability. Living without stable housing creates a cycle that is difficult to escape. It affects physical health, mental well-being, job performance, and personal dignity. Yet because much of this homelessness is hidden, it receives limited attention and insufficient solutions. Future outlook. The real concern is whether this silent struggle is becoming permanent. For many Americans, stability no longer feels guaranteed, and the idea of long-term security is fading. The American dream is quietly changing, and what once felt achievable is becoming uncertain for millions. This story matters because it is not just about America, it is a global warning about rising costs, inequality, and survival in the modern world. Thanks for watching. If you found this video meaningful, like, share, and subscribe to Travel Decoded, where we decode the world beyond the surface.